Being single at 36 is like being expired. My husband is handsome and a genius. Mary declares loudly in the square. Looking down at me with disdainful eyes, Mary has an air of self-assurance, as if she's a winner. The people in the square start to murmur. They all look at me with pity. Mary probably raised her voice on purpose, knowing this would happen. I've suffered a lot because of Mary in the past. I just want to ignore it, but I can't take it anymore. I want to make Mary suffer, make her experience the same, no, even worse hell. My name is Karen. I'm a 36-year-old working mother. I'm a nurse, and although my job is tough, I find fulfillment in being thanked by people. Welcome home, Karen. I'm home. You're back early today. The meeting I had planned got moved to tomorrow. My schedule opened up, and waiting at home for you like this feels kind of nice. My husband Charles is gentle and kind, busy with his work, just like me. He always cares for our family, and even after 13 years of marriage, I still feel his deep love. Mom, welcome back. That's my son, John. He just started middle school this year and is 12 years old. He's grown up a bit, but is still my adorable only child. I'm home. What is that wonderful smell? It's my turn to cook dinner today. It'll be ready soon. John, resembling Charles, has grown up to be a kind-hearted boy. Life is so different from what it was 13 years ago. I'm always thankful to Charles and John. One day, I was at a jewelry shop by myself. The reason was to get maintenance for my wedding ring, to have it cleaned as it had become dull. Since I was there, I decided to avail of the service to make it look new again, and I was told it would take 2 to 3 weeks for the ring to be returned. After leaving my ring, I decided to head to the apparel shop next door. Charles, knowing I seldom spend money on myself, had insisted, "Buy some clothes you like. I've even given you some money for it." As I was excitedly picking out clothes. "Hey, is that you, Karen?" "Huh?" I turned around to see a short woman standing there. With her large cat-like eyes and plump lips, anyone would call Mary cute, and her exaggerated head tilt was certainly appealing to men. But that was all in the past. Now in her late 30s, she looked rather pitiful. "Long time no see. You remember me, right? How could you forget after what happened? By the way, Karen, you're still single, huh? You're not wearing a ring." The woman chattering away was Mary, my best friend. No, my former best friend. I met Mary in high school. I was in the volunteer club, visiting preschools to read picture books and learning sign language to communicate with people who were deaf. I always found joy and fulfillment in being able to make people smile and help them. Mary was also a member of our volunteer club. Why did you join the volunteer club, Mary? Just because? It seemed like fun, like learning sign language in Braille. Mary, with her cute looks and charm like a small animal, was popular with the boys. That's amazing, Karen. You've already learned so much sign language. You really have a talent. Do you think? Thank you. Mary often complimented me, and for someone who lacked confidence like me, it meant a lot. She even helped me with love advice. Guess what? I'm now dating Richard. It's all thanks to you, Mary. Really? Congratulations. Perhaps because of my continuous consultation with the popular Mary, I finally got my first boyfriend. His name was Richard. A sophomore at the top prep school in the state, Richard was an elite student aiming for medical school at a state university. I met Richard at a tutoring center. We happened to be going in the same direction and talked a few times. There was a mutual attraction, but Richard never made a move. When I consulted with Mary, she said, "Karen, you should make the first move." And that day, after confessing our feelings, we finally became a couple. Thank you so much, Mary. It's all good. We're best friends, right? We'll always be together. Our relationship ended when Mary stole my fiancé. After graduating high school, I entered nursing school and started working as a nurse at a hospital. Later, Richard, having become a doctor, proposed to me, and we got engaged. I was on top of the world with happiness. Then I got a phone call from Mary. After graduating, Mary had gone to a university out of state and had been working away from our hometown. We only met once or twice a year recently. Mary mentioned she'd be visiting her parents soon, so I decided to introduce Richard to her, planning a meetup with the three of us. On the day the three of us, Richard, Mary, and I met, Mary's face lit up the moment she saw Richard. "Richard, you're so handsome, and your fashion sense is wonderful. Not to mention you're a doctor. I'm so envious." "Yes, I still have a lot to learn." "Smart and high-earning. Karen's going to be rich. Share some with me." "Share what, silly?" Only Mary could joke like this, and I felt grateful for her presence all over again. A month later, late at night, I got a call from Mary. "I'm sorry, Karen." "For what?" Mary laughed teasingly. "I just intended to take a little bit from you, but Richard, he's so simple-minded. So instead of a little, I took it all." When the three of us met, Mary had secretly exchanged contact information with Richard. They met behind my back several times and eventually became sexually involved. Why? Why would you do such a thing? We were friends. It's all lies, obviously. What? You know, it was all calculated. I joined the volunteer club thinking it must be full of naive, kind-hearted fools. And I was right. So many people to use. Naive, poor judges of character, and too trusting, sharing everything. Just like you, Karen. Thanks to you, I knew everything about Richard. His likes, hobbies, personality, even his type. Once I knew that, I had already won. I'm way cuter than you after all. That's a lie, right, Mary? I never expected you to bring along such a high-level guy. Thanks for that, Karen. The call ended. Afterward, Richard formally broke off our engagement, and a year later, they got married. Mary had a baby. She even had the nerve to write it in a letter. I rented a house far away from them, changed my job, and avoided any contact with them. I hadn't seen the two of them since. Richard's been promoted. He's working at a big hospital now, and we've moved here. Thanks, Karen. Realizing that meant thanks for giving me Richard, I bit my lip. I don't dwell on the past. I put back the clothes I was looking at and left the store. Back home, I acted as if nothing had happened in front of my family and went to my bedroom, claiming I was tired. I never expected to see Mary again. Wanting to forget it all, I thought about taking a nap before dinner when my mobile phone pinged with a notification. A friend request? It was from an old SNS account I hadn't used in a long time. I opened the SNS, gasping. A friend request from Mary? Why? Sensing some intention behind it, I checked Mary's account and saw a post from 10 minutes ago. Met Karen today. Such nostalgia. She's still as plain as ever. But still my dearest friend. P.S. Here's a photo of Karen choosing clothes. The photo showed me alone selecting clothes. She must have taken it before approaching me. The post had so many comments. Wow, Karen really has no taste. Hasn't changed since high school. So funny. Mary is so kind to help her pick out clothes. Unable to bear it any longer, I closed my mobile phone. She must have sent the friend request just to show me this, to mock and expose me in front of everyone. It's too cruel. How much more does she need to belittle me to be satisfied? A firm desire for revenge was slowly rising within me. Today I was out shopping again. A famous large department store had recently opened nearby, and there was a 10% off sale for the grand opening. The store was bustling with customers. After finishing my shopping, I was waiting for someone on a bench in the square. I heard a familiar voice. Hey, isn't that Karen? What? Did the poor thing get lured in by the sale? Mary. It was the opening day of the famous large department store. I had been wary, but never expected to actually run into Mary. I was just meeting my family here. Never thought I'd run into you. That's so. I'm waiting for someone too. Oh, your family? But wait, you're single, right? Dumped by someone, right? Hey, Richard. Richard was standing next to Mary. He turned away looking uncomfortable. Mom, is this the lady Dad dumped? She's so plain and lame. She looks like an older lady. A middle school-aged girl laughed at me. Mary put her hand on the girl's shoulder, smiling proudly. This is Susan, my pride and joy. She's smart like Richard and attends a famous private middle school. Isn't she adorable? She's an influencer with 10,000 followers on SNS. We're a successful mother-daughter duo. They both laughed crudely. Just then, Mom, John came running up to me. Surprised, I introduced him to Mary. Let me introduce you. This is my son, John. Mary's mouth fell open. What? You have a kid? Well, he's got a forgettable face like yours. Then Susan pulled on Mary's arm. Wait, Mom, this is John, the super popular video creator with 500,000 subscribers. He makes awesome puzzle and quiz videos with his friends, super smart and trendy, and he's even more handsome in real life. Wait, Susan. I'm Susan, the influencer. Of course you know me, right? Could we exchange contact details, please? Susan's eyes watered as she gazed up at John, much like Mary used to. Susan? I don't know her. And I heard from afar you were making fun of my mom, right? I don't like people who insult others' families. What? Hey, Mom, why didn't you tell me? I just got rejected because of you. It's your fault. Susan, I'm a huge fan of John. I've been looking forward to his videos every day, solving puzzles and sending comments. I always hope to meet him. Oh, why does this have to happen? I hate you, Mom. Susan, wait. Don't touch me. Susan shook off Mary's hand and ran away crying. Mary looked panicked for a moment, then turned to me with a menacing look. Your son, huh? Richard works at the top hospital in the state. I taught him everything so he could cover up even a little medical mistake. Mary, stop it. You must be some miserable single mother, right? No ring. Single at 36 like expired goods. My husband is handsome and a genius, Mary said with a sneer. Then John exclaimed, Dad! Hey, John. Karen. Charles, having finished his shopping, approached us. I smiled at Mary. Let me introduce my husband. This is Dr. Charles Miller, working at a nearby hospital. You know him, right, Mary? Mary went berserk at the sight of Charles. Charles Miller? The genius doctor who became the deputy director of a university hospital at 38? I nodded. Charles and I met 13 years ago. After Mary stole Richard, I moved and switched hospitals to avoid them. That's where I met Charles. Then a new doctor. He appreciated my dedication to work and how I interacted with patients, resonating with my desire to help people since my volunteer club days. We naturally fell for each other and got married. Then John was born. Wait, Karen? How did you marry such an incredible man? You must have played dirty. Mary, stop it. What, Richard? Don't interfere. Stop it, I said. Richard slapped Mary with force. Mary fell, trembling and holding her reddened cheek. What are you doing? Richard glared at Mary. This man is my boss. I told you before I work at the same hospital as Mr. Miller. You were too busy with SNS to listen. Richard deeply apologized to Charles and me. I'm so sorry. My wife insulted you and your wife. And to you, ma'am, I'm truly sorry. Charles looked down at Richard, pondering. You mentioned something about a medical mistake earlier, right? Right, that was just my wife's delusion. Right. There was a medical error at the hospital you used to work at. A nurse was accused, but she always claimed innocence. I think I have to ask the hospital to look into that again. My family are eavesdroppers, all of us. I chuckled quietly behind Charles. That's... Richard collapsed as if his soul had left him. Mary stood frozen, eyes wide open. I slowly spoke. Mary, you thought I was single because I wasn't wearing a ring, but actually it's just out for maintenance. I should have told you. Sorry about that. Karen, you... Mary was trembling, her face red. Then Charles tapped me on the shoulder. "Let's go home, Karen. We've finished our shopping and today is our anniversary." "That's right. We have a reservation at the restaurant, right? I'm hungry. Let's go." "Sure, let's go." We left the square together. I could hear Mary's frustrated voice behind us. "What the? How can this be? I won't accept it. I won't." With her voice as background music, Charles and John took my hands and we elegantly left the department store. The meal at the restaurant was fantastic. Celebrating our anniversary as a family of 3, I felt incredibly blessed, but a bit of unease lingered. I opened my SNS, knowing Mary. She might twist today's events into a post mocking me. I checked Mary's account. "Today was amazing. Went shopping at the department store and met the genius middle schooler John. Got his autograph for my daughter. I'm so lucky. P.S. Sneak peek of John." There was a photo of John's back, probably taken as we were leaving the department store. I was astounded at Mary's tenacity to use everything for her advantage. I commented on Mary's post. "Delete that photo right now and stop lying about getting an autograph." Then a new post appeared. "Some people are just jealous. It's not a lie." So mean. The comments were full of support for Mary, the usual farce. It seemed inevitable. I decided to take the final step. Later, I received an SNS notification. It was a friend request from someone named Mary 2. An apology? I had no expectations but accepted Mary's friend request. Immediately, a message arrived. "Karen, what have you done? Because of you, my account got deleted. How are you going to make this right?" "Make it right? I repeatedly asked you to delete it. I just told John the truth." I had informed John about Mary's post. I couldn't let her defamation and lies, especially ones harming John, go unchecked. John took the matter seriously and posted a video in response. "There's a person posting my photos on SNS. That's a sneak shot. I didn't give an autograph either. We asked for deletion through my parents, but it was ignored. Sneak shooting is a crime. Please do not do this." John's fans quickly identified Mary's post, and many reported it to the platform, resulting in her account suspension. The new friend request was from Mary's new account. The 2 probably meant it was her second account. She must have created a new email address to register. I was amazed by Mary's fixation on SNS. "Do you know how hard I worked on my posts? Writing text, taking photos?" "Then work hard on your new account. Post facts and proper photos, and your account won't get suspended again." "Shut up. I know that. Don't message me again." She initiated the conversation. I sighed and closed the SNS app. Later, Mary started posting on her new account. She shared bright daily life, fun girls' nights in, parties, always with the same group of friends, including her junior volunteers. Then I received another friend request, surprisingly from Patricia, a junior from the volunteer club often featured in Mary's posts. We hadn't talked much, but I remembered her face and name. "It's been a while, Karen." "A while indeed. How have you been?" "Fine. Actually, I need to talk about Mary. Can I?" "Of course. What about her?" "Mary always posts glamorous things on SNS surrounded by friends, but it's all lies. Everyone is being blackmailed to participate. Mary even makes us pay for her share, saying, 'I introduced you to a nice place.'" I was speechless. That explained why junior volunteers were always in her photos. Is that true? Yes. After Mary's recent scandal over sneak shooting, she contacted me. I'm complying for now, but I don't know what to do next. That's why I reached out to you. You commented on Mary's controversial post calling her out. I thought you'd be on our side. I pondered for a while. You said she's blackmailing you? What kind of weakness? What Mary told me was that she saw me hurling terrible abuse at a junior in the volunteer club, threatening to tell my family about it. But I had no memory of it, and when I said so, she replied, "The accuser often forgets," and claimed to have evidence. I felt something was off about Mary's words. I suggested something to the junior. "That sounds like a threat. Mary lies a lot and targets kind or timid people. Why don't you subtly ask around?" A week passed. One by one, friends disappeared from Mary's posts. The junior said Mary couldn't provide details or evidence of the alleged weaknesses. Those who were blackmailed by Mary realized that the supposed weaknesses were non-existent. Mary's posts shifted from her glittering life to solitary cafe visits and bragging about branded purchases. The likes and comments on her posts plummeted, probably all fabricated. After work, I checked my mobile phone for SNS messages. "I will never forgive you." Had she realized I advised them? Or was it just her assumption? Either way, I didn't want to engage anymore, so I didn't reply. A few days later, as I returned home and was unlocking the door, someone grabbed my shoulder from behind. It was Mary. "Mary, how did you get here?" "I hired a detective. I know your husband is off today and you went out with your son." Mary pushed her way into my house, shouting hysterically, "Richard is being interrogated by the police because of John's photo. Susan is avoiding me and all my friends are gone. I'll be all alone at this rate. Take responsibility." Responsibility? It's all your fault. Richard's police visit is due to your instruction to cover up a mistake. Susan is avoiding you because of your wrongdoings and your SNS. You threatened people to pretend to be your friends. You're the cause of everything. I responded calmly. Maybe I felt relieved after the department store incident, healing from past wounds. I won't run away. I won't lose any more. Wait, Karen. Remember, in high school, it was thanks to me you got a boyfriend. Without my advice, you'd have remained alone forever. Repay that favor now. Give back everything you took from me. You were the one who betrayed me, Mary. There's no favor to repay. You should experience the hell you put me through." Mary collapsed, crying. "Please, we're best friends, right? Tell Charles that Richard is innocent. Tell John that I don't hate Susan. Please." Black tears streamed down Mary's cheeks, her heavy eyeshadow and mascara dissolving in her tears. Mary looked a mess. Mary continued to cry loudly, covering her face with her hands as if she were playing a tragic heroine. Meanwhile, I secretly went to the bathroom to make a phone call. Soon the doorbell rang, and the door opened from outside. "What?" Mary trembled. "Did the report come from this house?" "Yes, she entered my house by force." It was the police officer I had called. The officer knelt down to Mary, who was still crouching. "You are suspected of trespassing. We've also received several noise complaints from neighbors, so please accompany us to the station." The officers restrained Mary and led her to the patrol car. She resisted violently. "No, I'm innocent. Somebody help!" Mary was pushed into the car and taken to the police station. When Charles and John came home, they were surprised by the incident, but especially impressed by how calmly I had handled Mary. They hugged me, relieved that I was safe. At night, Charles and I were in the bedroom. "Karen, I actually have some good news." "Good news?" "The husband of Mary, who came to our house today, well, he's my subordinate, but it seems the investigation into the medical error is progressing. Rumor has it that he is almost certainly the culprit." "Is that so?" Mary had always been so devious. Must have been desperate to advance Richard's career for her own gain and status. Later, Richard was arrested by the police for pushing the medical mistake onto a nurse. The scandal made headlines exposing their wrongdoing. Mary was also arrested for instructing Richard to cover up the mistake. Both ended up in prison. The victim of the medical error was preparing to sue, and both Richard and Mary seemed to have reached a dead end in their lives. The same likely applied to their daughter Susan. "Now, Karen, how about this dress? It looks nice, Mom. You'd look good in it." "Really? Let me see." We were at the apparel shop as a family. Last time I was here alone, Mary interrupted me and I left without buying anything. This time, Charles and John suggested a dress for me to try on. Isn't it a bit plain?" "Not at all. It suits you." "That's right. Being plain doesn't mean it's bad. What matters is that it suits you." I was happy to hear their words. Yes, you're right. I wanted to continue enjoying peaceful days with my family.